Yes, my people, welcome, 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 welcome. It's another Friday, and we're here again, vibing it. Here, Skunk H TV, The Naked Truth. And that's the program today. As you guys know, we talk about many different things. Let me just set up everything here. So we definitely talk about a lot of things, and tonight won't be any different. Definitely won't be any different. So we're gonna get into it. As you know, the topic of the day for the past couple of months, TNT is the Bible, the complete Word of God, right? And that's where we are with this. So I want to say welcome to everyone. Blessings, honor, and glory unto the Most High, the giver of life. So, Father, we definitely thank you for all that you have done for us and giving us the opportunity to exist within this amazing world. We're definitely blessed. We're privileged to be here. So that's a great thing. Thank you, Father, for guiding us this day here. And we're here in good health, and in just a good vibration. We're here. So we definitely have to give, honor and glory and praises unto the Most High for that. So again, big up everyone out there and everybody that tuned in each and every Friday and join us here to have a discussion. And do remember, as I said before, the phone lines will probably take some call, but anybody wants to call in today, you definitely can leave a comment and I'll get the line open so we can chat about, whatever it is. We're dealing with the subject of the Bible, as you know it. So that's the main topic of the day today, right here, Skunk H TV. And we're vibing it, right? So let's get things rolling, right? As we talk about many things in the past, as I said, past couple of months, there are a lot of things, man. There are a lot of things to discuss. And of course, we're going to discuss it here. As you already know, the topic of the show is the naked truth. And that's what we're about here, right? No covering up the truth, right? So that's what we're going to do, right? So let me... Right. So so we're gonna get let me just I'm pulling up some stuff here. Pull some things up so we can get into things. Right. So we're definitely gonna get into in the book, deep in the book today, and let me find some scriptures so we can start off with this, because last week we spoke about the Antichrist, right? And Christianity and a lot of these practices in the churches and what they are, demon worship and all kind of different things. And none of these churches or institutions, whatever you want to call them, is actually dealing with the Creator Himself, or even practicing the laws, statutes, and commandments that are laid down within the book that they claim is the foundation of their faith, right? So nobody's living by that. Women are doing things and they find it within themselves somewhere there to justify the idea that there is a whole testament and a new one, and they have to reject the old one. And this is so ridiculous, right? How ridiculous this is, as if you're going to look at the Most High Himself, the Creator who put all things in existence, saying that He made a mistake, when the Most High said in the same book that He don't lie. And once Him swear by Him holiness, mean that once He commits something from His consciousness, it has to be this way. It cannot change. So if He said Israel will be punished, it means that they will be punished. If He said He's going to deliver Israel and destroy their enemies, it means that that's what's going to happen. If He said the last days they will be woken, they will be awoke, that means that's what's going to happen. It can't be nothing contradicting in the book. As I said, if anything else you see in the book, right, that's kind of differing to something else, it means that somebody is trying to change the original story. So, of course, that's why we're here, to make, the people, those of you who are interested in the truth, those of you who want to know the truth, those of you who want to free yourself from the imprisonment of your mind and, break the spell of deception that's been holding you back, keeping you in darkness, right? You want to break free from that. Not settling because you look up to the authority of men. And that's basically what's happening in society today. We all look up to the society, come like my train of thoughts, but we are looking up to the authority of men. That's what we're looking up to, instead of looking up to the authority of the Most High. Based on men's ideas, we fit ourselves in these brackets because men say that this is how it's supposed to be. We don't question anything. We go along with what they say. We believe that it is the standard for our lives. Nothing else matters outside. Once you become amalgamated within the society, it means that you follow every details that the society has to offer. Whatever the society does, you do it. And this is what it is here. So we don't look up to the authority of the Most High. We look, and hold our heads high, what I'm saying, believing in the authority of men. Whatever they say, these professors or theologians or whoever they are, whatever they say is concrete, certified according to their system and society. So we don't question and we think, okay, well, I'm a fool because I didn't learn academia, right? I didn't learn that recipe, so I'm a fool, so I don't know. So in order for you to be smart, you have to learn that recipe in order to communicate with the people that know the recipe, right? So the very people that design the recipe can always input their lies and their own ideologies because that's what it was in the beginning anyways, right? This is how it comes about, right? So when we talk about Christianity and we talk about the error, right? There's a lot of error in Christianity, not error, not the era, but the error, right? In Christianity, where our ancestors have been indoctrinated to a certain degree to believe certain things, and the books are the books that were studied, our ancestors study from, or were taught by them, right? Is certain scriptures, not the whole book. We never got to, I don't want to say we never, but they never got the chance to sit with the book because remember, English wasn't a recipe that our ancestors knew. They knew their language, and our ancestors know their language, so we're familiar with communication, how we do things different, how we think, and very versed and fluent at speaking in our own language. Understand this. Someone take you away and tell you you can't speak your language anymore, abuse you, and tell you have to learn his language. No, you have to catch up. You don't know it. He wasn't born in this era with these people. He didn't speak the way they speak. Your children will be able to do that. But then again, your children would have to be, you would have to caught up to them, to their kids, right? Why would your kids living in a society that you were beaten, right, to lose what you have? Now your child, right, is conceived here. What do you think is going to happen? Even he will learn English as the default language, right? Because that would be the language that will be spoken around in the community. But then there's division, right? There's segregation, right, among people. So therefore, you've been kept out. So still, you'd be fluent enough. And this is why within the community, the black community, what you call black community, so-called, right? You'll have slangs, and because we had to create things because we didn't get the full vocabulary of what the English language was. It wasn't taught to us, and we weren't friends or family with the slave master to that degree where when they have conversation and talk about different levels, right, of the English language, are using certain terminology, certain words, we wouldn't understand that, right? Because it's not been spoken around us. Therefore, we wouldn't adapt to it, right? Because there's a divide among the people, right? So if they're versed in English language, that's their language. And because your child is born here, they would have picked up certain words to a certain, what they hear, right? A baby would have do that. Just if he was born in the jungle or born in China, he would pick up the basic, right? But there's depths to the language, right, that you'd have to know in order for you to speak fluently, understanding the full recipe of the English language, learning it so you can utilize the words, right, and utilize the letters properly, in every single aspect of the language. This wasn't the case. Do you understand me? So if someone is taking you, bringing you into their home and they speak Chinese or Greek or whatever, and then they're going to say that you're a fool, right? You're stupid because what? Why are you stupid? Because they can't speak your language either. So you could say they're stupid too, right? So it's ridiculous, right? It's ridiculous to say that, it's ridiculous to call someone stupid after you beat them to lose their language and say they're a fool and they're not educated enough. Because now, if you kept them away from your institution where you learned, right, to become so-called intelligent, right, you kept them from that, then you tried to ridicule them on top of that. Ridiculous, right? So they're not familiar with your language. So they're not stupid because they're not familiar. That's not their native tongue. You understand me? They're not used to it, and they would have to learn your language to know the secrets and like even someone learned Chinese language, right, in Western culture. It's very difficult to know every single secret about what the Chinese and how the Chinese, because it has to do with culture. It has to do, the language goes along with how the people, react, how they interact with each other. Things that they might say, small ways, they know the meaning of it. You wouldn't. Outsiders would not know. So it's difficult if you take a Chinese person and teach them English and then you say that they're incapable of learning it when it's not their native tongue. But in their language, they're very fluent. They're very smart. You would say they're smart because they understood completely what they're saying and what they're doing, utilizing their own language. The Africans, right, are the Israelites that were taken out of West Africa and brought to the Americas, and their language was beaten out. They had to adapt, picking up bits and pieces, methods of communication. The same thing in Jamaica as well, and the Caribbean, where you find that the dialect is different. That they took whatever they could, right, So they're very smart. They're genius to take whatever they could from this one, from that one, from the Irish, from the English, from the Spanish, and put something together, right? So that they could understand each other when they speak. So they will use, because you'd understand this. Their vocabulary would be limited. How would it be limited? Because, right? Their parents were slaves and weren't allowed to go to school. That would have given them an idea of what the English language was, how to phrase words and to use words, right? They didn't go to school for that, right? So they were leaning on each other based on the small amount of information that they got. The slave master wasn't sitting there around them having conversation every day. No. So you'd find that their vocabulary would be very limited. So they will use just limited amount of what they took or what they've heard from these people in order to communicate with each other, right? And as time goes by, they themselves would have become creative, improving on it, picking up a single word here, utilizing different things, different phrase, using different things. So you'd have this slang, the idea of slang, what they call slang would have come in, but it's an effort, right, within a language where people can understand each other. Do you understand? So when we talk about the Old Testament, as I said before, there is no such thing as old or new. But for just to edify something for the people who believe that, right? When they say Old Testament and you have these Christians and other believers who telling you that there was an old book and now there's a new one, so you don't need the old anymore. You're saying that the Most High made a mistake somewhere. As you listen carefully what the Most High said, he said, when in the last days, he will pour his spirit in the earth, right? And the young man will prophesy and the whole, and what these things was going to happen in the last days. Now, this didn't happen yet, did it? We didn't see this happen, so we have to assume that, well, okay, this time didn't come. And it's not only that, he said that, everybody would have to go to Jerusalem to worship, right? Now, we haven't seen that either, according to what the book says, right? That means we can assume that this didn't happen either, right? He said that he will write laws in Israelites' heart. That means they wouldn't be in captivity anymore. They wouldn't be scattered among the nation anymore. We didn't see that happen either. He said he will gather them. He will gather them. They weren't going to take plane to fly there. He said he's going to gather them and bring them to where he promised their forefathers. So he will bring them there and give them the land that flowing with milk and honey. That was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And they inherited that promise because they're descendants of those people, right? So you understand what I'm saying to you? So if the book is saying certain things, and we didn't see that happen, a lot of things that is written there, according to the prophecies, none of those things happen yet. So we know that there is a future prophecy, right? Unless it's a lie, right? So if none of those things happen, then what we're looking at today, when we summarize everything, what are we looking at? Because the Israelites are scattered, right, among the nations, and they're not rich. They're the poor of the poor. They're the worst among the people. They've been treated because of the blessings and the curse. If you read that in Deuteronomy 28 through 68, you will understand that. So they will be gathered, and when they gather, they will wake up from whatever it was and understand this, that the Israelites went into captivity, right? They didn't went to another country and was treated bad, right? They went into captivity. They were forcibly taken from their homes and brought somewhere else, according to the prophecy again. So there would be no nation of people outside of Israel that would have this similar thing, that it would confuse the world, because the Most High word is true, right? Whatever he says, that's how it's going to be. So it can't be two nations of people that have the same experience. It have to be the very people that he spoke about. Then you will know, well, the nations of the earth will recognize that, okay, well, these are the people that they said would have gone into slavery, and they would have been, their children would be sold, and they would be the least within the society where they live. That's what it would be. That's what the prophecy is, unless you're going to say that they're lying. So I'm wondering, the people that is claiming the identity of, the Israelites, who are these people, right? That's what we have to get into. Who are they? Who are these people when the overwhelming evidence is there to prove that these people are claiming the identity of being an Israelite don't match the prophecy? You cannot be the people if you don't fit the prophecy. And yes, we understand what they're going to say, and other people and groups will say, right? Somehow the Bible is valid until when someone starts speaking the truth about what's taking place with it. It's valid and everybody would use it as a tool, as reference. Go back, go to the Bible and use this. But as soon as you point out some things inside here that is factual, right, and it does not sync, right, with the narrative, then everybody says something else. Oh, well, it was translated, so you have to go back to this to get the truth. But before that, everybody believed everything, right? Until you start to point things out, then they start saying, oh, well, you have to go to the Torah. And not only that, you have to go learn Hebrew language and all of this nonsense. Now, we can talk about Hebrew language and how foolish the idea is for someone to claim that they speak that today, because we know that's not the language, right? So Hebrew language, it's not been spoken today. The people lost, right? They were discontinued from their heritage, and we're going to get into that, right? And read some of that for you guys to understand. They have been discontinued from their heritage. They lost everything. Means that their custom, culture, the way they used to do things, how they did things, they wouldn't be able to do it anymore. This is the reason, as I explained last week, why the Messiah came. Because they wouldn't be able to bring, their sacrifice to the temple where the Levites was, and the Levi would have atoned for their sin. They would lost everything, that they wouldn't know what to do, how to do it, to build the altar, to do the sacrifice. None of these things they would have known, because this is accumulated information that passed down from generation to generation. And when you're born within that nation of people, it becomes a part of you already, the part of your program. It's already written within your mind already. Nobody has to teach you. You know that this is how everybody function within the society. Just like in America today. Because you live here, you know how everybody operates, right? Even though there's a huge void, right? But everybody knows how everyone operate, how the city operate, how it move. That there is ticket you'll get if you double park. There is ticket you'll get if you don't move your car when there's time to clean the street. I mean, you know this. You're born here, so you know the rules, right? That would be the rules in Israel. Everybody would know this, but it was orally, right? It was orally, vocalized among the people. They would have known this. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of people would say that, oh, the language, and this is the Hebrew language, and you have to go back to the original text to understand, and translation, they didn't give you the full details according, right? But they would take things that, are more valuable to them from the same thing to support, but it doesn't match up. So when you tell them about, or we speak about the Israelites going into slavery again, right? They're going into Egypt again. What do you mean going to Egypt again? What does that mean? And they will tell you, well, but they went there the second time, the same place, Egypt. No, they didn't. Got the second Egypt because it was synonymous, with slavery or bondage. It wasn't even slavery. Let's not talk about slavery. It was bondage, because the name of the people within that time, they were bondmen, bondwoman, mean that you're tied to someone, or they owned you, right? This was the bondage. That's why it was called bondage, right? And that's why the Bible speak about the bondmen and bondwomen. Those are people who are in bondage, right? Are people who are servants, by agreement, right? Or somebody purchased you and have you, and they owned you in some instance, right? So it's bondage. So because it was synonymous, you're going to Egypt again, but this time you go there with ships. Now remember, they walked there before, right? And they didn't go. When he said again, you'll go into Egypt again, and this time with ships, where I speak unto you shall see no more. Meaning that your land, your home, that you know that was given to you by the Most High, you'll see it anymore. No longer see it again. Right? Not only that, we can expound upon this, that the Gentiles, right? Jerusalem will be trampled down with Gentiles until the fulfillment of the Gentiles. I mean, there's a people who are going to live in the area or occupy the area, right? And they're going to be there for a while until the time that the Most High decide that this is it. It's up. Time is up and you have to leave now. And if you don't, you're going to die, right? And that's what's going to happen in the last days. So when they went into Egypt, they didn't go there as slaves. They didn't. Right? They didn't go there as slaves. They went there as regular people, went there and they were living there under the rule of the Pharaoh, and Joseph was the governor. You know, and governor, and Egypt was flourishing. Joseph, there was a what you call a famine. And Joseph were able to collect grains and whatever food supply, and have large, amount of it to sustain them throughout the famine. So Joseph was in a high position, and basically his brothers, they came there. His other 11 brothers came into Egypt at that time. So you understood, they went into Egypt not as slaves. Joseph was sold there, only him, right? But the others who went there, they went there as what? Regular people, common people, just, migrating to Egypt and living there, right? In a city, right? Because of what was happening outside and the drought that was happening outside. You understand me? So they went there. So when he said they're going into Egypt again a second time with ships, right? That where I spake unto you, see no more. Now remember, after Egypt, that Egypt was just the first of the captivity that they went in. They went into many other captivities after that they were delivered the same way out of it. But the Bible distinctively tells us that they will go into Egypt again, and this time with ships. Where I spake unto you, see no more. And there you shall be sold for bondsmen and bondwomen. No man shall buy you. Why no man shall buy you? And you have some people who come out. This internet is very crazy, and you have people who think because they're Google graduates, they could come on any platform and talk a bunch of nonsense, and without doing any proper research or even have the common sense to analyze what they're saying. They will go up here and set up pages and think that they're educating people based on foolishness. It's literally foolishness, right? And you have a lot of people here who think that, that's something because it's available and they could utilize it and turn on their cameras and talk a bunch of nonsense and get followers. Are they looking for clout? Whatever it is, you understand me? So you have a lot of people come out saying a lot of nonsense. And I've heard basically everything. You know what I mean? So they say that, now this is what they say when when the idea of when Egypt has been brought up, right, for the second time, and when the slaves that they will be bondsmen and bondswomen, they'll be sold, and just to hide and trying to cover up what the truth is. They think they're hiding and covering the truth as if we're fools, or of the people who've been in captivity are idiots and they don't know what's going on, right? Now, they will tell you that when they said, you shall not buy you, they said that the Israelites, because of whatever curse, they sold themselves into slavery. That's so stupid, right? And no man shall buy you, right? They were selling themselves and nobody wanted to buy them. This is the idea that they get. So the heathen, right, or the Gentiles have no knowledge of the word. Why they wouldn't understand the book. Even when the Messiah was speaking, why did he use parables? Because people were there who were looking to find some loophole or some hole in his argument. So he spoke in parables that they wouldn't even understand it. Only the people, right, would have known what the Messiah was saying, and some of them didn't even either know what he was saying, right? Greetings, and welcome, right? So they were looking to poke some hole into what he was saying, right? To go back to to the king Herod, right? To report to him that this guy is blaspheming. So they were looking for him to break some law within Israel, because Israel were governed by certain laws that if you did certain things, the people were allowed to stone you or to kill you. So they were looking for something, some evidence to prove that he wasn't who he said he was, and they had the right to crucify him or to kill him. So they were looking for a loophole, but it was a time that it was going to happen, right? But they were looking for that when he came. So you have a lot of people would say, well, the Israelites were selling themselves. Nobody wanted to do anything with them because they were cursed or whatever. Nonsense. Now, if you read the book, and if those people who spoke about this book, literally read the book, would have understood, and maybe they won't, right? But the Bible tells you, usually an Israelite, right, cannot have another Israelite as a slave, right? You can't. If you do have one, you have to free them at a certain, or the Jubilee, I believe, at that time of the year, you have to release them. So we weren't allowed to have slaves, right? And if you know as an Israelite that one of your brothers in slavery, you have to buy him, right, from whomever has him as a slave. So this was the term that was rephrased when he said, and you shall go into Egypt again with ships, where I spake unto you, you shall see it no more. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondmen. You shall be sold. Somehow these Google graduates dismiss the idea of the word sold. You will be sold, right? And no one shall buy you. The idea of how would you be sold, no one buy you? You will be sold. Not you're selling yourself. You will be sold. Your enemy will take you away into a land. And and not only that, they forgot the whole other part of it too, right? We say that a nation shall come against you with fear countenance, right? As swift as the eagle flieth, and he shall have no love for the young or the old, right? No love for the young or the old. Does that sound like something that you've known? Whoever these people are, they don't care about your people who are young, whether they're young, 12-year-old, they put you in handcuff anyway. They throw you in the back of a police car. They slam you on the floor anyway. Whether you're old, they'll put you down, handcuff you, kneel in your back, whatever. Have you seen this? So the evidence is very clear. There's a people who will treat you this way, and they won't respect the young or the old. They don't care because you're nothing to them. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So for the fact that the Israelite or people would have different platforms speaking on these issues and talking a bunch of nonsense when it comes to the scriptures without understanding what the scripture is saying. The Israelites were allowed to buy their brother and sister back or retrieve them back if they were sold into slavery at any point. And the Israelites weren't allowed to have their own people in slavery, right? So they weren't selling themselves as they claim. When they speak about these things, it's trying to dismiss what the truth is. For people, as the people begin to wake up and find themselves, find out their identity, who they are, you won't have these scholars who come out saying they have new findings and they found a new scroll in some place and it's saying something else to divert the truth away from them. So the other nation wouldn't understand. But it's very clear for the nations out there who, welcome my brothers, welcome my sisters, welcome everyone. It's very clear. The prophecy is clear. And if you want to see it, it's right there written in front of your face. You don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see it because they're not inclusive to this prophecy. So they don't want to talk about it because it's not talking about them, right? So why would they, speak of that? So, you'll have this collusion happening among the nations who know who the true Israelites are. They know it. The majority of them know. They don't want to talk about it because it doesn't benefit them to tell you that you're the chosen people of the Most High. Doesn't. Benny does it. It wouldn't benefit them. So they don't speak about it. They will allow anyone outside of you to claim that identity. And they would support that. Because, as I said, to divert you away from your truth or from the truth. But how foolish are they not to understand that the Most High put Out of his holiness, he said things at a time the Israelites are going to go into captivity, and they shall face a certain amount of sufferation and punishment for whatever they did wrong. And when that punishment is up, things in the land of their captivity, they will remember who they are. They're going to remember. It doesn't matter what they do. Doesn't matter what this society does or any society around the world do today. It won't stop this from happening. The people, whatever they want to put in the food, right, to dilute your mind with all kind of chemicals and whatever, so that you can be senile and you will lose your memory and you won't recall. They cannot stop what's going to happen. The children of Israel are going to wake up. When they wake up, that's the end of everything. So whatever these people are doing and trying to delay, right, what's to come, it won't be possible. These people who have no power over themselves, who have no power over their own physical existence, are trying to go against the power that actually created them. That power that put them into existence, they're trying to challenge this. They're trying to lie and deceive people regarding this. And this is why we say they're the devil, right? And when we say the word devil, it doesn't mean that deceiver. That's what the word devil means according to the definition. Right? So it's very simple if we're reading the Bible and understanding what the Bible is saying. So going to Egypt again with ships, it's not the same place, right? It's a different place. Now, we know what Egypt was synonymous with, right? Right? A lot of tall buildings, pyramids, tallest monument in the world at one time, right? These other countries want to challenge that, so they say, oh, we're going to build World Trade Center and other different buildings, whatever. But, right, they wanted to challenge that, but we know what Egypt or Kemet, ancient Kemet, was synonymous with. A lot of buildings, tall, high buildings, right? And that's where the Israelites encountered their first, right, taste of what slavery was. And I'm saying a bondage was, right? They call it bondage because the word slave or slave come from the Slavic. The people in those Slavic, those people are Europeans, right? And that's where the term slavery came from. And they somehow they pin this word on black people as if we were always slave. But the Israelites always been into captivity, yes, and they survived it. Why? No other nation wouldn't be able to go through what they went through and survive, right? The Most High protect them throughout their captivity, right? So they went through a lot of things and mentally stable, just like the very slaves, descendants of slaves that you would encounter today, who have gone through many things. Abused, treated bad, outcast, racial profile, the Jim Crow era, right down to, the Black Wall Street, the murder, the killing, and they still maintain their sanity. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? A lot of them will die, but they won't be deceased or extinct completely, right? Because the Most High is preserving the remnant of Israel, because he said that in the end, he's going to rise them up and he's going to collect them and bring them back to their land. So they will be remnants of Israel that is worthy. Those among the Israelites that are worthy, right, and are upright in heart, they will be preserved and they will last until the very end. And no matter what the other nation do or does, won't affect them. Whatever you want to do, put poison in the food, whatever you want to do, they will be there. And they will maintain their sanity. No matter what you do to them, they will survive. Unlike if you do that to any other nation, they will completely extinct. These people will triumph. All that they've gone through, surviving on just $5, surviving on just $1, in the worst conditions, they will survive. And they will still maintain their physique. They will look strong and resilient at the same time. Even their suffering, you're going to see that. Now, the nation may live in denial because they don't want to accept that the people that they look down upon, and that these groups of people, right, ridicule, right, and say they're nothing, and that they're 3/5 of a human beings, and the very people that the world is, become so prideful, right, and that everyone look down upon them and saying, they're no good, and they know this, and they know that. Those are the treasures. Now, those people are the treasures of the Most High, the very people that's been rejected and kicked out aside. Now, do you think that the Most High is coming back to save the rich? You know for yourself, man. Even you watch a movie, right? Even you watch a movie, right? And the plot of this movie or the film is what? There's always a champion coming to defend the people that their land has been threatened to take away, or they've been killed, and some of them have been murdered. But then there's a champion who come and deliver them and kill all the rich or the people them who had power and oppress these people. It's always like this, right? This was going to happen in the end. So the Israelites, you want to know them? They are the very least among you. They're the ones who've been rejected, who you tell your daughters and son not to marry and not to talk to, and to clutch your purse when you pass them, and that they're nothing and they're fools and they're idiots, yet they're responsible for every single thing that you see around in the society. You understand me? The fools. The people that are not genius and have low IQ, those are the people. Those are the treasures. They are the treasures of the Most High. See, we could deny all we want. Evelyn, welcome. We could deny all we want because you don't fit inside of it. You don't feel privileged enough to speak and honor the people that actually, okay, well, I'm not going to get the position of management, but I'm going to support the manager. Because you don't get the position, you hate the manager, right? And you hate everybody else. You know what I mean? But they know who the Israelites are. And it's time for people, because the church is what's holding up the deception. It's keeping this deception up. And a lot of so-called blacks around the world, right, believing this, right? Greetings, my brother. A lot of blacks around the world believe in the idea of Christianity, and they don't know the origin of it. That's the problem. That's what bugs me out every day, right? I'm thinking that at this point in time, where information is accessible, it's not like before, right? It's more accessible now, that people would have, seen through the lies. But no, they become more and more deceived by the lies than anything else. I mean, look around you. Look around you. Look around. Look what's going on. Christianity is the vehicle that they use to perpetuate the deception and keep the children of Israel, right, in darkness, and hoping that they would never find their way out of the darkness. That's what they're doing. That's the effort. Now, my people, yeah, welcome, man. T-Waz, what's up? What's good? Welcome. So we have to be very careful of these religions, right? And everybody's looking for redemption. I want to say, I don't use the term everyone. There are people who are afraid of dying, and they're looking for security. They want to preserve their lives because they grew up here in the physical world, and they attach themselves to things, and these things become of great value to them, right? Sentimental values that they don't want to leave. Death only becomes when one realizes. It becomes a thought of concern when people realize that there are things here that they don't want to depart from, right? And it's very simple to understand this, right? It's not complicated. Look at your life when you were younger, right, to when you become an adult. You're concerned about living and dying at 8, right? Say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You're concerned 13, 14, 15, 16. You're concerned nothing about death, living, or afraid of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? When you become concerned with the physical world or attached with the physical world, the more you attach to it is the more you begin to realize, oh, you need to preserve your life and, protect your life, secure yourself. Prior to that, nobody think about it. You do some things as a young child, you didn't think about dying. You do some crazy stuff that if you look back, you'll even scare yourself today about the things that you did while you were younger. Because death wasn't something that you thought about. It wasn't important because death is a part of life, right? And once when it becomes important is when you start to connect yourself with physical things and you want to be here. Now you don't want to leave here. You want to stay here forever. Everything is good, my brother. Everything is good, man. We're here again, pushing the truth as much as we can. Yeah, that's what we're about. Supporting and helping to strengthen our community, man, and the minds of our youth and elders and people around, so that we can navigate ourselves out of this lie and deception that's been holding us down for so long. So death is just asleep. So you have people who are looking for salvation and people who are not looking for it. And a lot of people who attach themselves to physical things are always looking for, salvation. They want to live forever because they don't want to lose the very things that they have. So they want to live forever. So you find out a lot of youngsters would go to church because their parents went there. And their parents would have brought them to church on Sundays or whichever day that they participate. Now, these kids will grow up. Some of them will later on reject the church and don't even partake in anything to do with the church later on. Some of them will continue. Some of them will wait and they'll do all sorts of things, sinful and some things that are good and bad. Put it like that. And then later on, as they begin to get much older, they decide, well, you know what? It's time for me to find God because there's a place that everybody utter from their mouth called heaven. A place, right? Some euphoria, safe haven where when you die, you'll get to go there. And because there's two ideas, right? And one idea is so negative that you would rather choose the positive one and everybody would rather strive for the positive. Nobody ever say that they want to go to hell because we heard about hell as a place of what? Infernal, right? It's hot, fire, burning and torment. Nobody wants to go there. So nobody is seeking salvation to go to hell, right? So the salvation that they're looking for is to what? To springboard them to heaven. And so everybody wants to go to this place that whether it's true or not, it plays on their psyche that there's a place that is golden and it's beautiful and there's clouds and there's beautiful women. Some people have this idea, beautiful angels, and oh my God, you get to do the things that you do on earth. And, little do these people know it's not like that. But at a certain age, a person within the physical world would start to seek. Those of them who didn't actually believe in the Creator wholeheartedly, they didn't do studies on their own to find the truth about who the Creator is. They went to an institution, there they went to learn, and they didn't do their own study behind. So they believe everything that the pastor said, the deacon, whoever he is. Whatever he says, they will take it, and how convincing he is and how much he might scream in the mic and say glory, hallelujah, and all kind of crazy things just to, persuade them. And that's his congregation, and they will believe everything he says. Whatever he says, he even blasphemed and said he spoke to God last night. And God said, I should do this and I should do that. And he's lying to the congregation, the followers of that congregation. They believe him. They believe every single word. He said, now, They don't believe the Creator, what the Creator says, because they didn't study on their own. They didn't seek Him on their own. Do you understand me? They went through someone who can lie to them and tell them anything. And, somebody can teach you something, yes. But you have to go and do your own study and analyzing what this person is saying before you say, yes, this is the complete thing, right? But people are lazy to do their own research. Nobody wants to. But, we reason on a certain level. You can feel if someone is telling you the truth or not. But we don't want to deal with feelings alone, right? We want to know that 1 on 1 would have equal to according to the standard, right? So we're looking for balance, equal balance in things, right? We're looking to understand and we have to be very careful of some of the things that we're trying to induce, right? We have to be very, very, very careful. So it's important, very important, how we look at life and what we attach ourselves to. We're taking in things that we do not understand. And I'm saying, if this was back in the early, say, 1400s, and we were talking about Christianity, everybody would be outraged. People would be outraged. And maybe I, myself, would have been seeked out or seeked after and, killed because I would speak certain things against them. This is how vile the origin of this idea of what they call Christianity was. They forced people, forced them. Remember this. This is religion. This has nothing to do with the Creator, right? It has to do with men, their pride, their low inferiority complex. That's nothing to do with the Most High. Remember, the Israelites are not church goers, right? They didn't go to church, right? They didn't go out on any conquest trying to convert anyone outside to become an Israelite, because you cannot. Why? Because the Israelites, they are family members, right? Their brother, sister, auntie, cousin, never, whatever title they use to say that these people are connected by blood, that's who they were. Nobody went out to go force anyone to become anything. The Israelites have never, there's no pages in history or anywhere that you know of that they went out to recruit anyone to become anything. You understand me? Yes, and I know Christians are going to come at me with this one scripture that they're going to bring to me. And it's the Pauline doctrine, right? Paul letters, this is what Christians use as their reference card. So they're going to tell me about Paul letters, but see, they only read and cherry pick certain things to support what they believe. But if you understood everything, then you'll see Paul wasn't talking about, when he said go out unto the Gentiles, who were the Gentiles? I'll explain the Gentiles to you. Who were they? Who were the Gentiles? Was it the other nation out there? Was it Israelites who were scattered among them who were living and following Gentiles' custom? Now, the Messiah said, I came but for the last sheep of the house of Israel, right? Who did he came for again? I came for the last sheep of the house of Israel. The people that were lost and didn't know who they were. They don't know themselves. That's who I came for. He even go as far as telling the other strange woman from another nation that why take the children bread and give to the dog. Pay attention when you're reading. The Most High himself, the Creator, do not lie. The Messiah who represent, right, the Creator does not lie either. So whatever he says, that's what he says. Now when Paul was sent out to go to the Gentiles and teach them, remember, the law was given to who? The children of Israel. It was given to them. It wasn't given to any other nation. There is no prophet outside in any other nation except for Israel. Now, the promise, the giving of the law, the adoption, all of that is for Israel. Not only that, If you want me to go further, he said there's 12 doors in heaven. 12. So when people speak about heaven as if there is a place where they could just escape and go there, and other nations, because of they fall into this information, right? This is not a part of their culture. They fall into this because this was forced upon a lot of people, right? By Christians, telling them that they are all a part of what this history and story is, which is a lie. So everybody have the idea that they're going to die and go to this place. But this, in the very book it told us, in heaven, there's 12 doors. Right? 12 doors. And guess what is written on these 12 doors? The name of the children of Israel. Right? You know the 12 names. Zebulun, Levi, Judah. Their names are written on the door. It means that their family members are the only one who could enter those doors. Do you understand? So if you're not a family member of those people, you can tell yourself whatever you want here. You could read this, whatever twisted, dementive way you want to read and accumulate the information. You could do whatever you want and tell yourself. But the Most High, out of his mouth, says what he says. You understand me? So you could take it however, and you can force yourself to believe what you want and tell yourself how you want to believe it, and that there is salvation for anyone and for everyone. You could tell yourself that all you want. The Most High does not lie, right? And he says he's going to gather Israel. He's going to deliver them, and he's going to destroy their enemies. So wherever the Israelites are, wherever they've been dispersed, wherever they lived and been treated the way that they've been treated, the Most High, when he returns, he's going to gather them. He's going to destroy their enemies. Now I know this is the notion out there. And this notion is where everybody try to use to feel comfortable and to, I guess, motivate themselves, thinking that there is some glory and some, something good out there for them. The Most High. And a lot of people would say this, God loves everyone. That's what they say. That's what everybody says. Oh, he loves everyone because we were all created by him. So, of course, he loves everybody. And this is the notion, right? God loves everyone. Doesn't matter. And they will go to John 3:16 and said, for he so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whomsoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting. Now they will draw for anything to support this idea, right? He said he loved everyone, right? But then the Most High said out of his mouth, right, that Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated. He said he's going to deliver Israel and destroy their enemies. What did he do? This loving God, right? This loving God that everybody, or what Christianity teach you, that, he's so loving and he's not going to hurt you and he wants you to do better. No. Once you do wrong and you don't live by the law, statutes, and commandments, you're going to be punished. Just like the Israelites who have been kicked out many times because they broke the rules. He didn't pardon them. He said he chose them above all people. They were the apple of his eye, and he chose them. And he said because of that, he's going to punish them for their transgression. Did he punish them? He punished them. They died. He said, you're going to die by the enemy. So he said everything that was going to happen. Do you know the prophecy? You Christians who are probably listening out there, any of you who are Christians, go read Deuteronomy 28 through 68, and you will see for yourself. You will understand the God that you're talking about, that you're saying is loving. He's a God of judgment. He's a God of justice, peace. He's a God of love. You have to know that. What did he do for the Israelites? What did he do to the Egyptians? What did he do to them to deliver the people that he chose for himself? The peculiar people that he chose for himself. What did he do to the Egyptians? Did he kill all their firstborn? This is not all the firstborn. He said he killing all of them. Did he do? That's the loving This loving God that you put in a bottle and think you're going to be saved if you're doing wrong and he wants you to do right, right? And he's going to force you to do right. No. He killed all the firstborn. Not only that, what did he do? He hardened Pharaoh's heart because he wanted to show his people and demonstrate his power to his people that he truly loved them. So he hardened Pharaoh's heart to the point where, because he's just using fear. Fear is no good in or out. His plan was to destroy the whole entire kingdom of the Egyptians. And what happened? They chased after him because, of course, he wanted them to chase. And what he did? They all died. What did he do to the Canaanites again? Do you understand what I'm saying to you, my people? He said to kill woman, child, baby, animals. Everything's supposed to die. Now, when you speak like this and tell Christian, they say, oh, well, they'll find excuse. That's what the Most High says, right? He has the privilege to delete whatever he creates, right? You could think with your emotion. You can feel however you want to feel. The Most High and his judgment is righteous. Whatever decision he makes, whether he kill a child or not, his judgment is righteous. You can't tell what that child will become. Any of you? Can you tell having a child what he will become in the future? It's like they say Hitler is the most wickedest person. Did Hitler's mother and father know who or what he was going to become? Right? They said he killed millions of people, right? And I'm just saying that's what they say, right? Millions of people, right? Who knew what he would have become? Nobody knows, right? The Most High know every man's heart, though. And you know what they will become, what they will do, how valuable they are to him, if they would serve him or not. He know all things. So he could make decision that might cause you to think twice, might cause you to think that, oh my God, there's no sympathy there. There's no empathy there. Look what he did to the Israelites. He kicked them out. Kicked them out. Not only that, he kicked them out, he said, you shall die by the sword. Now in 70 AD, history, we're going into history now. When the Romans went against Jerusalem, there is millions of Israelites who died. Do you understand? That's his people. Those are his people that he punished. Not only that, when they left Egypt and they were in the wilderness, going through the wilderness, and they cried for food. You know, and he said, okay, they got manna, right? Which is the food. He followed manna from the sky and said them to eat this and you know, to keep. He was feeding them everything. You know what they wanted? Meat. They wanted meat. So he said, okay, he gave them meat. And you know what happened when he finished, gave them meat? You could read it yourself in Exodus. He told the warriors, he said, kill the fattest of them all. Do you know how many people died in Israel that day? 10,000 people died by the sword, by their own brothers. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? The Bible said to root all evil out of Israel. Do you know what that means when he said all evil shall be rooted out? This is why the law is so very stern. Because in order for you to be a holy people unto him, you have to live a holy lifestyle. You can't live a wicked or evilous lifestyle and expect that you're going to be around the Most High. You can't. He said, this is why he said that if you find your daughter and your son doing certain things, you at first have to put your hands on him, and then the other neighbors and other people among you shall stone him to death. Your own do you understand what I'm saying to you? Your own child, of course. With our and yours, your emotion, you'll think, oh my God, this is so evil, this is weak. You'll think of whatever you want. But guess what? It's the Most High. He do whatever he wants. Do you understand me? He was the one who sent tornado into countries and tear it apart completely. Right? And when the tornado take the roof off the house, the baby went up in it. Right? And he was the one who saved that child. That there was a mattress there where the child fall right on that mattress, right? Nothing happened to him. He was the one who destroyed these cities and communities. He did whatever he wants. He know who good and who is bad among the people. He kill and do whatever he pleases. He is the Most High. You cannot question what he does. But we try to dismiss the reality because we want to live in this perfect bubble, telling ourselves all kind of nonsense. Oh, the Most High loves us. Christianity is going to tell you, oh, he loves you. He wants you to do better. He wants you to do what? The Most High is not recruiting anyone. He has never done it. There is only one person looking to deceive people ever since. Ever since, this one individual looking to deceive people and to get them to be a part of something that they're not supposed to be a part of. Who is that? Who is this person? The tree of knowledge of good and evil, that very individual from the beginning. I've said this last week. It was him. When the Messiah came, tell him, listen, you jump from this mountain and I give you all of this. Right? It was he who said that to him. He's the one who's looking to destroy people, to tempt them and to get them into things, to do wrong things. You understand me? The beast that the book spoke about and the image of the beast that you all know. What is the image of the beast? And the Antichrist. And this topic is so vast. Of course, we have to get deeper into it more. The Antichrist. And the book tells us Matthew 24:24. Even the elect themselves shall be deceived. Right? They will be deceived by whenever this idea comes about. A lot of people will be corrupted by it. Today, to this very day, the very image, the beast will know that the beast is what? We know it's a country, right? It represents a country. This beast was wounded and then it's back again, and then the second beast come and did the same thing that the first one did. They uphold and perpetuate the deception and the lies. Do you understand? He was given power, right, to overcome the saints. That's during the Roman, during Jerusalem when the Roman occupation. They were giving power to destroy the Israelites. For their punishment, they was destroyed. Millions of them died. So the Most High is not what people try to perceive him to be. You and the Most High will be good, just like you and your mother. Once you have high respect for her, your father, once you have high respect for him, he will never go against you. He will never harm you. Once you honor your mother and your father, just like if you honor the Creator, he's not going to harm you. Even your mother, your father is capable of harming you. But why should they? Because you have done everything right in their eyes. The Most High have the ability to take the life out of you. Why should he? Because you have done everything good in his eyes. So he has no reason to harm you. But he's going to harm those who opposed you. Those who come against you is going to take their lives away. How would the people outside look at that? You know, how would they look at that? The Most High give and he could take away as the same way he gave it. He said the other nation, when this is Israel, transgressed the law and they get punished for sin because they had an agreement, they had a covenant, a promise between them and the Creator. You have to live like this. You know what I'm saying? He said you can't, man and man not supposed to sleep together, woman and woman not supposed to sleep together, you're not supposed to eat certain food, you're not supposed to do certain things. He said the nations that I kicked out before you have done all of these things. Right? And they didn't stop. Within this society, within other societies around the world, they continue to do the same thing that they did from that time to now. So they continue to do that. They never stopped. doing that. They never stop marrying, men and men marrying, women and women marrying, they're marrying animal, all of these things. It was, the book broke down everything for you. So if you want to know, go read the Bible. You understand? And the nation was kicked out in front of you because they have done these things, right? And you were giving strict laws, very stringent, not to do these things because you are a holy people unto the Most High. So you cannot do the things that the other nation does. You can't eat pork. So when these people here are fighting because they grew up eating a certain thing and they love that and it's a part of who they are, they would use the Bible to justify, oh, God didn't make anything unclean. They would say all kind of nonsense, and they will even change scriptures just to have you doing that. But the Most High said that you're not supposed to do it. The Israelites, not the nation outside. You can eat pork all you want. Do whatever you want. Be homosexual, be lesbian, be whatever you want. Be proud of what you are. You are the nations out there. Do whatever you please. The Israelite, the people that are chosen, that are supposed to uphold the law, the statutes and commandment, are not allowed to do those things. And the fact that they are in captivity is because they broke the law and they've been punished for it. Now they have to wait until when that day that they realize themselves and that who they are, and then the Most High will regather them again, bring them back to their land. And when they go back there, can't be the things that the other nation are doing. You won't be able to exercise those things there. You will be killed. You will be kicked out again. But the Most High said he won't kick you out again because this time the law will be written inside of you. So no one has to teach the other about it. It will be this natural thing inside. Just like, you're hungry and you know that you have to eat. Nobody has to tell you that. Okay, so I have a question here. What makes people to have a short life while the others long or sin? Well, the short life, long life. The Bible says, 70 that a man's supposed to live, which is about 70 years. Right? What give a person long life, short life? I think it's based on that individual and what the individual, partake in. How you live your life can shorten your life, or you can sustain for a period of time. Now it has to do with not just you living, and the things that you consume is very important to the physical temple, because the temple can be sustained if you're nurturing it and taking care of it. Of course, you'll be able to sustain your life. And if you're not into things that can cut your life short, like, people do risky things, right? Very, very risky things. Just even you look at people that live in the countryside, they would live longer than someone that live in the city. You see, live in the city is like a lot of traps, right? Things can happen at any second. A brick can fall from a building. You can be crossing the street and you get hit. In the wilderness, you're not, these things are, likely to happen to you, right? So you understand me, and it still has to do how you feed yourself, because however you take care of yourself can help to sustain the temple. And once the temple is sustained, life, will be able to inhabit that temple, right? So if you take care of yourself properly, you'll be able to sustain yourself for a period of time, a long period of time. So yeah, people who live up in their hundreds, and when you see a lot of people have excess, right, fat on their body, they're liable to be, their life will cut short. Put it like that, very blunt. Their lives will cut short very quickly. Because when we understand, the food that we eat, right, is important. It helps. It can contribute to body mass, right? Certain type of food. And so if you keep eating these things, good evening, welcome. If you keep eating these things, then you're causing, you're risking your health, right? So you have to, live on a certain diet, right? It's going to prevent you from getting sick and, cancer is something that lives within the body, and people say it's inherent. I think everybody has it, but at that certain time, once your immune system begin to fail, then these bacteria, things that live within the body, depending on the things that you eat or the water that you drink, they live inside the body. Now, when the defense is down, these things begin to come up. Like you look on your face, you see some mold that wasn't there when you was younger. Because as your body as you begin to get older, your immune system begins to get weaker. If you're not eating food to, sustain that, then you understand that you see things happening that wasn't there before. People would say this is a sign of aging, probably, but there are things, if your immune system is not there to protect no more, then these things begin to come out. Your immune system is like a guard, like guards, right? Watching everything, and everybody have to just stay in their place. All these bacteria that live within the body has to stay in their place. They can't do nothing because they're afraid of the immune system will attack them. They can't defeat the immune system, right? So these guards with spears and swords and weapons guarding all of these bacteria, but soon as they begin to grow weak, and then the virus inside your body recognize that the immune system is low, it begin to spread. Say, oh, now we could escape. It's like breaking out of prison now. Let's go to the brain. Let's go to the abdomen. Let's go here. Places that they didn't go before, you'll find that they will go there now. You fall into some medical complication. Your body start to act up a certain way. You start to lose. All kind of complication comes in. So it's important to eat, because when you nurture your body, not just when you reach a certain age, right? Not just when you reach a certain age, but while you're younger and your children, you're supposed to introduce them to things that is good for them, right? Bitters. The most important thing that we left out of our diet is bitters. And bitters is the most important. This prevent high blood pressure, you know what I'm saying? All of these ailments that you're having now is because you left this one component out. Your body have to be equally balanced, right? And because you're not consuming bitter things, you eat salt, sour, sweet, right? These are the things that you constantly eat every day. But the only thing that you don't eat is what? Bitters, the very thing that you need to keep your body up when you're older. Because you're going to need the immune system to stand strong while you're older, able to overcome these viruses and other bacteria that lives in the body. Now, the body, it has a lot of, viruses, bacteria inside that live in there. I'm talking about, you can say they're good ones that will become bad ones later on if your immune system shows signs of weakness. You know what I'm saying? So short life, long life, it depends on how you live your life, and how you treat people, because, you can't cut your life short because you're moving a certain way, or because you're living very fastly and you're moving very fast and you have time to pay attention, like running down a staircase, right? And you're not paying attention where you're placing your foot, right? Then you could fall and break your neck and you could die. You could go into your bathtub just to take a shower, and because you're not paying attention, you're not focused, you could just slip and you hit your head on the edge, and that's it. So there are many things that, can befall you that you might not live, to extend that time that you have. But being observant of what you have this temple. You can't protect it solely, that you need the Most High as well. But whatever protection you can offer to yourself, you have to pay attention to your surroundings. You can't be foolish. You can't walk in the wilderness knowing that there's poisonous snake there, right? You can't just jump in a pond knowing that there's crocodiles and alligator inside there. So you have to think. So your life, it depends on how you treat yourself. What you eat can extend, that time. But the Most High said that, if you're living good and you're serving Him well, He will extend your life. He will extend it until you reach a certain age, or till you're old and you're gray, or whatever it is. You understand? So that's what happened with long life, short life. It's based on the individual and how they conduct themselves in their survival environment, How do we know the false prophet? Matthew 24:11, and many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. Yeah, well, how do we know the false prophet, right? That's the second question. Good question. How do we know these false prophets and who they are? Of course, we know them, right? Because the Messiah speak of them and say they will come and say that they are him. And they would declare that they are the Christ based on a lot of studies that what people are familiar with in this book. Of course, we have seen a lot of people who came and say that that's who they are. And they have deceived people. There are people who believe. There are people in Philippines, in many other different countries. Russia, this guy who claimed that he's this Christ and he came back and he's doing all, and people believe that. In Africa, you have all kind of deception. You know, people who claim that they have powers to do things and it's all a game, it's all fabrication. You know, so of course we have seen this, right? We have seen this happen. Those are the false prophets. A lot of the preachers who go into the church and telling you that they had communication with the Creator and that they talk with him and all kind of nonsense. And then when it gets to their head, they're saying that they have the power to heal and they're touching people and people falling. And they have all kind of actors and actresses that perform within this, their small deception film. And, you know, they lie and deceive the whole population. So people have been deceived. A lot of people will go to the church because they're literally looking to find something. But going there, they get more deceived. You know what I'm saying? I would advise you to disconnect yourself with the church. Church is not a righteous place. The Most High, there shall be no image. There are images, right, on the churches. The cross, for one, this statue of some white guy, Cesare Borgia, that's the Pope's son, that they use the very picture that the beast promote in Christianity, led nations to be deceived by this, believing that this individual, without a second thought, he is the Messiah. And people adore this image, right? They adore the symbol, the very cross. They wear it around their necks. These pastors and deacons and preachers, they're using it to cast out devils and all kind of crazy stuff, right? The idea of the cross, where did it come from? The Roman used it to execute prisoners and murderers and people who did wicked things in those times. That's what they use as a method of executing their prisoners, or whatever sentence you have to death. The cross was the one that they nailed you on. In the early centuries, in the West, they hung people. They put a noose around your neck, and they pull the floor from beneath your feet, and that's it. They just choke you to death. And then you have the electric chair. You have methods that these evil people came up with to kill people that they deem, okay, he's wicked. This guy killed too much people, so they give him the death sentence, right? And that's what they did. So if he died in the electric chair, you would imagine that everybody would be wearing an electric chair around their neck, saying that it will protect them, right? And it's a holy thing, right? And if he got shot by a gun at that time, then everybody would be wearing a gun, saying, well, this is holy, and we should wear this because it warded up evil, the very thing that took the person's life. I mean, it's crazy. It's people been deceived. You understand what I'm saying to you? And they don't even know it. So many false prophets shall come. We have seen this. This is not a lie. There are many people who say that they're the Messiah, right? And we're talking about from the Jewish community to non-Jewish community, right? To other nations of people outside in Europe, in Asia, who claim the same thing. Even in the islands, some of the islands, you find this same thing, false prophets, who will come saying that they'll deceive many. They'll deceive you. Why? Because you'll believe them. And you believe in them and everything they do. You'll even carry your daughters to give to them, right, for a ransom. You'll do anything. Do you understand me? That they say. You would sleep with each other. I mean, come on. So it's very common. These things happen in the earth, and it's happening today. So you'll know them, because when the Messiah comes back, he's not coming to talk to people or to visit churches. He's coming to deliver his people that's been scattered among the nation. He's not coming to visit church and to give lectures in churches, right? So, of course, and that's Matthew 24:11. And, there are many, and we have seen them, right? Okay, let's go. Let's get going. Is it wrong to say the same prayer with the same words every day? So let's talk about prayers, right? And what they are. Now, we're talking about the Psalms and the singers of the Psalms, right? Moses, David, and I think it was Solomon. Now, these singers of Psalms, these men, right? Because of their adoration, right? Because how much they have loved the Most High, and they admire him. They honor him in that way with these Psalms, right? David said, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel. He's telling you from an experience how great the Father would be. Blessed, how blessed, how good, is the man that walketh not in the counsels of the ungodly. How good for a man not to go into wickedness and do wrong things. How good and how pleasant it would be. Nor standeth in the ways of sinners, or seated in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. His delight is in the law of God. Statutes, the commandment, the laws, everything that the Most High said. His delight is in the law of the law, right? He shall meditate day and night. Shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, right? That bringeth forth fruit in due season. Everything good shall come from this because you're abiding under the rules of the Creator. All good things shall happen. You shall be like a tree, right? And your leaves will never be withered, right? Planted by the rivers of water, and you'll bring fruits. Everything good will happen to you. David is saying this like, all these things, man, how amazing it is. The love that he has for the Most High. He's expressing in writing, right? His deep love and connection with the Most High. He's saying that. Now, your prayers, what do you feel? What do you feel when you wake up in the morning? So we're not, and I want to answer this in the best way so you can get a clear understanding of this, right? Now, a prayer, your devotion and honoring someone, right? The Creator. Out of your own will, what do you feel within yourself? Your prayers come from that place of love, right? That place that you feel inside that, I have to give honor to the Most High. When you wake in the morning and you look outside and you see the sun shining, right? And you look around you, you feel breeze, cool breeze. And when the summer is very hot and it's burning, and if there's no hope, like the whole place is going to just ablaze with fire, right? And then he send the rain and cool everything down. You have to look and understand the works of your Creator, what he has done for you, what good he has done in your life. You have seen it. You witness everything. You exist, right? So he is your Creator because you exist, right? You have to love and honor him for what he has done. This is why you have to find the truth. And you have to abide by his rules, his laws, statutes, and commandments, not the laws of men, but the laws of the Most High. So your prayers is coming from that place, right? Where you commit and you understand who the Creator is, and you feel that love for him, and you want to honor him. It's just like you would recognize what your mother did for you throughout your life, right? And you will do anything, right? If she's sick and she's down, you'll be there in a second. I mean, this is the connection that you have to have, my brother. That's your prayers. Your prayers have to come from there. So in your words, what do you feel? That is your prayer. You don't have to emulate what David said, because that's his words, that's his feelings, how he felt at the time about the Most High, and he expressed those things, right? You could repeat that. It's no problem. You could take those things if you can't find any good words to say, but not just saying them and you know and deaf ears, right? And what I mean by that is just not saying them like, oh, you know, Father who art in heaven, I'll be thy name, and you just rush through them. You have no feeling, you have no connection that you would have had for someone that you really truly care about. And you have to be really truly cared about the Most High to be able to express yourself emotionally to Him. Your prayers is that. It's not something that is written and you've been coached to say this specific way. You have to speak to Him. The Most High is a spirit. For those who worship Him must worship Him in truth and in spirit. He's everywhere. You can talk to Him. Your prayers, so you don't have to be bored by repeating the same thing if you think it's boring. But honoring someone is giving them what's inside of you. All that is good within you. You have to find a way to express that to the Creator, right? And I believe I answered that everything in one day. So that the proper way. What is the proper way to pray? Devoted. You have to be devoted, man. You have to be able to sacrifice to prove yourself, right? To make yourself become approved, you have to sacrifice, right? If you have a child, you love your child, you will go out and you would try to find things to survive, right? You try to do whatever you can for that child. Nothing outside is important than the Creator Himself, that which gives you life. Nothing outside, your money, your career, none of these things, all of these things, you understand me, are vexation of the spirit, right? They're vanity. None of these things are important. The Creator is important. None of the work that you're going to have in this life, right? None of these things are important, and you're not supposed to hold them important over your Creator. Your Creator is more important than all the accomplishments that you think you're going to have in this life. So you need to sacrifice. You need to know when to step away and give time and reverence to your Creator. I'm not going to do this today. Today is my day. Your Sabbath day is the day you choose that I'm going to stay home and I'm going to serve my Creator, because you have so much love. I'm not talking about the fake love that people imagine, right? The love that touches your soul. That's why the book says, love Him with all your mind, your heart, and your soul. Love Him with all your mind, your heart, and your soul. And love your brother to love yourself. Do you understand what I'm saying? When this happens, everything that you see happening around in your community would disappear. The violence, people hating one another, all of that things, all those things, because now you're embodying the true nature, right? Your true purpose, right? And the will of the Most High. You're embodying all of these things. His law is supreme over everything else, right? We become subjects and victims because what? We believe in what men say, not what the Creator says. We want to follow the rules. You want to be the next lawyer or the next big thing, and you spend 20 years of your life to study. Have you spent 20 years to study about your Creator who put you here, gave you life, and gave you all the abundance in things, fruits, seeds that you know not of. You don't even know the name of them, right? You cannot bring any of those seed into existence. Neither can you bring just one leaf from a tree into existence. He provide everything for the smallest to the largest. You would spend 20 years and you will tell yourself that you're doing good, and that you'll tell yourself that you're blessed. You will even say that. But once within your whole studies, have you separated yourself unto your Father, your Creator? Have you adored Him even on your journey? Even your journey that you're seeking to accomplish many things. Have you adored Him and take a week or a month or a year and said, I'm staying here and I'm going to love and I'm going to serve my Father? Many people can't do that, my brother. They can't. So the proper way is if you don't have the commitment, just you can't. It's like meeting a woman for the first time, right? And you have that connection, right? And you have that deep, deep desire for this woman, right? For the first time you met her, and these feelings inside you uncontrollable, and you see everything good in your eyes. Looking at her, everything is good. You have good intentions, right? I mean, these commitments, right? These connection that you have, these feelings that you felt that you would have had for this person, this woman, those feelings, my brother, you have to embody those feelings. Those are feelings that you have to have for the Creator, not in the pervertive sexual way. You know, delete those things from it, but that feeling is something like that you have to have. And this will it will make you do the things that is right. You're going to love him, and you're going to do everything. You will see things different from the average person, right? When you begin to do that, you're going to see things different, and you'll understand that this is who you need to love. This is who you need to put your trust in. When everything else fails, he and he alone can pull you out of whatever you're in. Do you understand? So the way to pray is being devoted, committed. Don't lie to yourself, because you cannot lie to the Creator. So I will tell you, do not lie to yourself. Whatever you have in your heart that is good, that's all that's going to come out. Take your time, clear your mind, right? Find a space where you can sit down and clear your mind and think about what the Most High has done for you. You know, and connect with him, my brother. Find your own words to talk to him. You know, if you want to express yourself to someone, if you want to honor someone, if someone did something for you that is good, you know, you will find your own words to show your appreciation. You would go to the person and say, thank you. Oh, this means, because, you know, they helped you out of something that you probably had a crisis, something bad was up, and this person just come by and you're so thankful, you don't even know what to do. Word is not even enough to express. You have to find that in your Creator, because he has done those things for you. Not because you haven't been in a situation where you feel like you're struggling and, you know, he raised you up out of your struggle. He's always there. He gave you life. And because of that alone, it's important for you to commit yourself and to find that space and connect with him and talk to him. Express to him in your own feelings what you feel for him. He's not a monster, man. Talk to him, my brother. Have your prayers, of course. If my prayers have ever been answered, of course. My prayers always been answered. Now you have people who pray for trivial things. They want money. I've never prayed for money. I've never prayed for wealth. I want knowledge. I pray to know more about the Creator. That's what I want to know. I care not for the other things. These things can come afterwards. So my concern is not for that. As I said before on prior video, I'm not praying or doing the will of the Most High because I want to go to heaven. I have no concern or connection with going there. I don't think about that. That's not what I want. I want to know my Father. I want to know who the Creator is. I want to serve him. I want to know more and more and more how to serve him. That's it. So my prayers would be around those things. It wouldn't be about anything else. It wouldn't be about getting money, woman, wealthy, rich, whatever. It won't be about that. It won't be about me trying to go to heaven. It won't be about anything. I want to know more, and I want knowledge. The knowledge that I'm seeking is to know more about him. Not to go out in the world and to be prideful and proud of nothing. No. I want to know more so I can do more, good and I could prolong in righteousness and goodness, right? So I want to know more about him. So that's my prayers praying for, is to know more about the Father. How can I know more? Connect with him, you know. Let's see. How you know your prayer has been answered? Well, you know, when you're believing something, now I don't want to say believe, when you know something, you know it. You see, your expectation, when you learn about the Creator, you learn how he works. It's not the way that you expect it, because you have an expectation of something, because you want. So now you would weigh your wants and need in a certain way. Okay, you want a car, so this is what's on your mind. So when you go to pray, you're praying with this in the present mind, thinking that this is, and if this doesn't happen, then you think, oh well, your prayers didn't happen. You cannot ask the Most High for materialistic things. That's what you're asking for. The Bible said, "Seek ye the kingdom of the Most High, right, and all things shall be added." So when you seek Him, you're serving Him. These things that you're going to say, "Oh Father, give me," you don't have to ask Him for these things. They will fall into place. You will meet someone who come to you and give you a key, even for a car. Just like when Joseph went into Egypt, and guess what? The Pharaoh gave him a position that he didn't go there and apply for, but the Most High, because he served the Most High prepared that place for him. People will call you and do things. People will give you things. You understand? So my prayers, of course, it's been answered. I am very contented with myself. I don't have to have anything here. You understand? I survive here because living here, you need to work to have something to keep this overhead going, right? So I'm very comfortable doing what I do. But to walk away from all of this, I could do it in an instant. So I'm not attached or tied to any of these things. What I want is for the people out there to realize that their Creator is more important than their everyday activity and the things that they do every day. Yes, you can do it, but you must always have the Most High in the present mind. And that His laws, right, is above all laws that men create. And that you should trust in Him more than you trust in men. That you should trust in Him with your health than you trust in your doctors. All of these things is when you know, you don't have to think about the other things. You would go to the doctor because you're afraid of dying, because you don't trust that the Most High would heal you. So of course you're not going to get healed, right? You don't believe in Him that much. So how are you going to get healed from? You won't. You won't be healed, you know? So you have to know this. When you believe and you know what's going to happen, you're going to be confident, just like anything else you do that you're confident in. That, oh, I'm confident. Somebody asks you to bake a cake, you know the recipe in and out. You're confident. There's nothing that's going to shake your mind, right? You have to have that confidence the same way. So of course, my prayer has been answered many, 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 many times. I've so many revelation that one day I will have to sit with you guys and explain it. Okay. Your prayers for something and it happen, or you get it. Whatever I ask for, as I said, I do not ask for materialistic things, because I don't need to go to the Most High asking Him for a car or money or those things. And majority of people who are praying, they're praying for those things. You're not going to get that. Where is your love? First, you have to understand how you love somebody first. You understand me? You have to understand the love that you have for this person, right? It's not about the materialistic things, but this is what governs us. And when these things govern you, you'll be always looking for that, and you're looking for some resolve. If this doesn't happen, you say, oh, well, I asked for this. But you're not going to get it, because if you don't commit to the Most High and know in and out, when you know Him, you're going to know that these things are unnecessary to ask for. But if you don't, you're going to think that this is some genie in a bottle. You could just rub and ask for 3 wishes and it's just going to appear. And people have these these type of thinking, when it comes to material things. It doesn't work like that. I get what I want because I'm devoted. I'm committed to him in that way. And I don't need material things to justify anything for me. Right? So I'm not looking for material things to prove to me that, well, okay, the Most High did this. I mean, there are times when I don't have things and things happen. Mysteriously, as you might call it, things happen. I mean, very, very mysteriously. I said, one of these days I will sit and I will give you my revelation. You know what I mean? But as I said, if you're committed to the Most High, then you are committed to him. If you're going to lean on him for protection, then you don't need to go out to get a gun. You don't need to get a bodyguard and these things. I mean that you don't trust him. You don't trust him that in your times of need, he's going to be there. So if you're dwelling on your own strength, then you can't talk to the Most High because you believe in yourself too much. How could you believe him? So when you ask for things in the way that you do, you're not going to get anything. It's not going to respond to you because you have no true connection to him. How could he respond to you? How could he visit you when your heart is not even pure? All that I pray for, I've gotten it. As I said, I don't pray for the materialistic things as a lot of people do. I have no interest in that. Everybody would, try to pray and in the state of mind that you are and what you know now. See, this is why this program is very important, because I'm trying to bring certain light to certain people out there who want to know what the truth is. And the Bible says that the world shall be deceived by this. What is this thing that the world shall be deceived by? Right? The world, they shall be, even the elect themselves shall be deceived, right? By this, right? What has the world believed more than anything else to this point in time? When you sit and you understand when you begin to understand your Creator, you begin to connect with him, you're going to see things. The very things that I'm seeing, you will see the very same. You'll begin to understand the things around you, things that's happening around you. You know. When someone lied to you, you will know that, okay, they're lying. You will see clearly. You will open your eyes to these things. You'll be able to understand it. You'll be able to decipher the scriptures. Reading it, you'll see clearly what it meant. You can't, because you're not serving him, you won't see. But people are often asking for things. And not only that you're asking for things, but it's hard for a lot of you to give, but you want to receive something. It's hard for you to give your last to someone who is in need. Now, you might pray, oh, Father, I need something and I'm hungry. And of course, the Most High will say, okay, you need something. Okay. All right. Let me see. You're asking me for something, but let me see if you would give someone who is lesser in need than you something. Now you're walking the street and a bum came up to you. Right? Or what we call a bum. You know what it is, right? Came up to you and said, sir, I'm hungry. Can you buy 5? And now you have money in your pocket, right? And you're holding it with your 2 hands in your pocket, walking because it's cold outside. And he asked you for $5, right? And you feel the money in your pocket and you know you have it and you say, I don't have it, sorry. And you walk away and you leave him. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? You've been tested and you don't even know it. And then you expect to get something. When your prayers don't answer, it's because of your own actions. What you did. Now, we're supposed to love our brother like we love ourselves. Whatever we want for them. Not because someone is in a predicament, right? You look down upon them. Or they need something from you and you're afraid to hand it to them. Because maybe you see people looking at you or people around. Some people don't want to do it because other people are there. You have to do it because it's in you. You can only, whatever goodness in you, that's the only thing that can come out. You can't do any, if there's nothing good inside and there's bad inside, what's going to come out? It's going to be bad, right? Most of the time, you've been tested and don't even know it. Angel visit you in different forms and test you. You're asking God for a house. Okay, fine. But I'm going to send someone to you to ask you for $5. You can't give them. What do you expect to get? You have no faith in your creator, and you have no faith in yourself or the human race. So you won't get anything. What do you think the Most High is going to say? Okay, well, give you because you're special to him? No. You haven't proved your worth among your brother, your own brother. Because he's less fortunate than you, you might look down upon him thinking that, oh, this guy, they're always begging for money. You will use these terms to chastise them and say, oh, they're always begging. And they have it doesn't matter what they always do. If you have something to give someone, give them from the kindness of your heart, not for reward, but for the goodness in you. Let's see. With your heart, your soul, and everything. What's this? Have you prayed? Been answered? Yes, to this question. I prayed for my kids and my love being and happy and health, and that's good. Praying for your kids and everything is amazing, but not just your kids alone. Remember people outside too, right? So look out for their interests as well, my brother. Don't keep it because we're all family, right? And if you are a descendant of that tribe, it means that we're family. So don't, because your immediate family or your close family that you're close knitted with, deprive you from your other brothers and sisters out there. You must want the same thing that you want for yourself, for everyone else, inside your home and outside. So when you're praying, do pray for the other people outside as well. Those are your brothers and sisters as well. Pray not to be struggling one day, but this one seems to be big. Don't pray for to not struggle, my brother. Pray to the Most High and serve Him. All things will fall in place that is good and that is righteous. Okay? And I hope you can understand that. Don't worry about your struggle. The struggle is natural, and give thanks for the struggle because it's helping you to understand the basis of life, right? So struggle is important. So don't think that it's a bad thing, but don't pray that your struggle will be over. Just continue serving the Most High, and righteousness will take the place of all the tribulation and the struggle and you'll see things in a new light. So I have to thank you guys again because we're exceeding the time. So next week we'll definitely get back into the topic of this 18 and talk about it. So it is difficult, I know, but with the Most High, all things will be easy, my brother. So we'll definitely get back into this next week again, as we exceed the time. And do remember, stay tuned for ATO is coming up next. So stay tuned for that. We thank you guys again, man. Thanks to everyone that participated today and asked your question. We thank you so much for tuning in with us here at the Naked Truth Skunk H TV. Do remember, and good night to you, my brother. Good night to everyone, and have a blessed weekend. Do remember, ATO is coming up, so you guys can stick around and become a part of the entertainment. We'll see you guys there. And thank you guys again so much for everything. Until next time, much love and respect to everyone. And we will see you again in the bright future.